Welcome to the Key to All This with Tim and Dylan. I'm Dylan, and joining me as always is Tim. What's up, Tim?
Hello.
Hello. What would your Star Wars hat be?
It would probably be like a, you know, like like a wampa skin hat.
Yeah.
Like my character would definitely be okay with fur
Mhm.
from aliens, like violent
Yeah.
aliens. So yeah. What about
I
you?
would have probably like a raccoon type hat, but Ewok or
Ah,
Wookiee.
people. I chose like creatures that are like not considered like sentient creatures, and you chose like just murdering a person and wearing their skin. I love it. I love it. That's great.
I mean, PETA friendly
PETA friendly.
hat. Just just a fedora. Star Wars fedora. Uh
I love it.
That concludes our episode about hats.
Yes, you've been
Yeah,
canceled.
as you guys could
Um,
see, we from the thumbnail, this episode was about hats and in the Star Wars universe. Speaking of hats in the Star Wars universe, this is a perfect segue to Return of the Jedi. Um, that is our topic for today. But I was just thinking of when Leia is taking off her hat for Wicket,
mhm.
and it's like
Yeah,
completely scaring her. Maybe that would be the hat that I wear then.
yeah. I think that would be great. Still probably as scary to an Ewok
Hmm.
as your other one, which was an actual Ewok.
Yep.
You know.
I would also have to
Yeah. I mean,
somehow sew the pelt so that it was like a tail as well.
yeah, and having like the eyes very close to it, make it really weird.
Hmm.
Um, Ewok dismemberment aside, I really love uh, Return of the Jedi. And to bring up the hat theme
Hmm.
again, it is truly the third goal in the hat trick of Star Wars, and and that's my new laugh now,
I love it.
and trademark. I just think that it gives us everything we want, which is another Death Star,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
looks really creepy and like half
Hmm.
built. And we also get to finally see, we get a glimpse of the Emperor, you know, whether you saw him as like an original like chimpanzee face
Hmm.
form, or the revisionist Ian McDermott
Yep.
uh, version. We get to see him finally, and that's so
Yeah.
rewarding.
Instead of like the mannequin with just like mannequin Skywalker, I'll say that for you because you were drinking,
Yeah.
but with just like Play-Doh around his face, like that's all that I can think of when
Yeah,
I look at that.
yes. And it wasn't like chimpanzee's eyes. I always forget
It
what they
was
used for the.
something obnoxious like that.
Yeah, I think it might have been the
I
eyes.
like the newer version. That's one of the revisions that I
Yes.
accept completely. I wanted to get into something. Well, actually, before I get into that, you were talking about the Death Star. So it took me probably 20 years to realize that that was a new Death Star, and that wasn't the exploded Death Star from the other movie.
Like they just gathered the Lego pieces after
Well,
they
I didn't
broke
think
it, and
it
like we're like,
exploded completely. I thought that it was
oh,
like
gotcha.
sides blew out. And then, because it's like,
Hmm.
why would you build the exact same thing with the exact same, like, detonator? I mean,
I, I wrote like a comedic piece about like
mhm,
Vader emailing the architecture
yeah.
firm that they had hired, being like, well, I've got a lot of complaints. First of all, we're rebuilding the Death Star. It blew up. And second of all, it's 1,000 times bigger than the first Death
Hmm.
Star. So it's like already, it's already doomed because the first one didn't work out. And its one weakness was a thermal exhaust
Yep.
port. And the second one weakness is literally like you create a pathway to that.
Hmm.
Like it is like very vulnerable.
Yeah. I like that they included, essentially it included Stardust into the exact same thing. Let's just
Yeah.
rebuild it the exact
Yeah.
same way, but a little bigger, or a lot of
A little
bigger.
bigger. Give the ships more
Hmm.
space.
Yeah, let's have the reactor much easier to hit this time around.
Yeah. You thought this was hard hit? How about this?
Yeah. Just try to stop us
let's do
now.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to get into something that I just heard about while doing research on this. So when you think of Return of the Jedi, do you think Return of the Jedi is Luke is now bringing the Jedi back, or it's the return of Anakin as a Jedi?
I always thought it was Return of Anakin.
Okay. I always thought it was Return of Jedi as in Luke is, bringing the Jedi back.
Oh, a Jedi Master again. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I think that's why it's such a good title, because it does have that dual meaning,
Do you promise?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Swear on it. Swear to me.
It's actually the first Star Wars movie that I saw. I saw that before any of the other ones.
You must have been pretty confused.
I was. I mean, this was also when the special editions came out on VHS, but I saw that one first, and I just remember the Ewoks and the speeder bike scene, and that was what sold me on Star Wars.
Yeah, that was very. I mean, visually, it's like really cool. For the time, they were doing a lot of new special effects that felt very real. It wasn't my first one, but I was by far as a kid, I loved Return of the Jedi. It was my favorite one, just because it was so visually stunning and it had, this redemptive arc of and that it fulfilled that promise of getting to see that happen.
Yeah. Return of the Jedi was always my favorite up until I did an episode of the other podcast, Have a Drink with Me, with Tom Flynn, and he talked me out of Return of the Jedi being my favorite, and he helped me realize that Empire Strikes Back was my favorite, based on the fact that Empire is a solid movie, but I think Return of the Jedi, memory-wise and just my love of Star Wars, I'll always say Return of the Jedi is my favorite, but it's not a better movie than Empire.
It's like the Barney Stimson, How I Met Your Mother graph.
It is. Return of the Jedi is How You Met My Mother.
Loving Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
You guys ran around the woods
How
that
I Met
one
Your
time.
Mother. Where it's like if you were born after Return of the Jedi, you love Return of the Jedi. And if you were born before it, and had experienced all three in the movie theater, definitely Empire Strikes Back would be your favorite.
Yeah. I also just saw Return of the Jedi in theaters on the 2nd of May, and it was awesome. Bucket list thing for me is to see all the movies in theater. So I have a few left, but it was awesome. Seeing the opening crawl and seeing it with just a ton of other Star Wars fans who have already seen it, it just made the experience so much better. But very cool. Have you seen it in theaters?
Yeah, I actually saw and covered for work years ago, the entire sextology before episode 7. So I went to a marathon where it was 24 hours straight of Star Wars movies, and it was incredible.
When was that?
That was in must have been 2017.
Okay, so I think I knew about that then.
Yeah, and I got a press thing through work for it, and it was at the not the Pantages, but the El Capitan Theater for Disney. And the organist was playing Star Wars, and Josh Gad was there. It was really cool. But I just loved seeing it on the big screen and seeing everything on the big screen one after the other. See the whole story being told up until episode 7.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, wasn't it an overnight thing? Wasn't it some kind of sleepover? I kind of remember you telling me about that because we've been friends since 2015 or 2016. So it would have been probably right when I found out that you were a Star Wars fan was when I found out about that.
Yeah, probably right around then. Yeah. Yeah, it was a blast. But I also think that of the newer versions of I think it's like the edits made in like the 98 version and then throughout are great for Return of the Jedi.
So you loved
I feel
Jedi Rock being added to it?
yeah.
So do I.
Ewan knows how.
One of the guys that I went with to see it shouted that when the guy was starting. It caught me off guard, but I appreciate it. That was the only time ever watching anything in theaters where I appreciated someone talking, and it was him mimicking the singer there.
I think you almost have to participate. It's like almost like more dignified than Rocky Horror, but like the fans, it's a trap. Like there's so many like quotable lines that you expect the fans to repeat along, and in this case, sing along. So.
Yeah, because everyone knows the lyrics to Jedi Rock.
Gado DJ. It's so good.
With Sigh Snoodles. I feel like George probably like ran out of names, and he's like, I gotta name this woman with really long snout, snoot, snoodles. Sigh Snoodles. Yep, yeah. That's it. I love it. I think she's
nailed it. On to the next.
She's a babe.
Name.
Oh my
God.
It's funny. I talked to my friend Jaden the other day, and she said that she appreciates that we have a podcast that's positive about Star Wars, but also that it isn't two like young, weird, horny dudes talking about how much they want to sleep with female characters. And I was like, yeah.
We're just two old dudes who just want to sleep.
Yeah, sleep snoodles.
That's our one. Sleep snoodles.
That's basically it. There was two scenes for me that really were the best part of Star Wars. And I think you'll probably agree that they're in your top favorite. But speeder bike scene, pretty incredible.
Yes.
My wife and I just went up to the Redwoods in January, maybe December or January. And we walked through as much of the redwood forest as possible, and I was just running through it, thinking like, I'm in Star Wars. And she's taking like incredible photos on her like expensive Canon camera, and I'm just running around with my phone, just I'm in Star Wars.
Grabbing a stick and saying jump jump.
Yep, I was waddling like this and eating crackers out of her pocket. It was pretty great.
You and your bow-legged Ewok impression.
Yeah, I just kept looking at her like this. Looking into her camera and touching it and stuff. Yeah, I ruined it. I ruined the trip for both of us. But speeder bikes, I mean...
That sounds great.
One of the reasons I fell in love with California was the fact that we had redwood trees out here from Star Wars.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite scenes. What was your favorite scene? Or... some of your favorite scenes?
That is tough. I think it's got to be like when Vader is like, sister, so you have a sister. If you will not be turned, maybe she will. And he's just like, no! And then like to see like Luke kind of leaning into the dark side, with the music of just like John Williams, like having like a bunch of male singers go, ooh,
sister.
yeah. And then it just and to see the temptation and seeing Luke realizing when he cuts off his own father's robotic hand that he is slowly turning into that himself.
He also doesn't want Darth Vader to kill the person that he got his first kiss from.
Sorry. I don't know why that was so much of a mental gymnastics for me. I was like, Luke kiss Vader. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, Leia,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, you didn't see the scene where Luke and Vader kiss? They don't know that they're father and son yet.
I want to kiss you with my own lips.
Yeah. Remove my harmonica.
Let me lick upon you with my own tongue.
Let me Luke upon you.
Mm.
I think that's a great scene. When I think of Return of the Jedi, it'll go speeder bike scene, skiff, and then that scene with Vader finally taking off the helmet and showing that gross head and just being like, put it back on. Put it back on.
I just think also that the Emperor Palpatine performance by I think a 26-year-old Ian McDiarmid.
Oh wow.
Where he was saying he had done he's a legit Shakespearean actor. If you ever see young Ian McKellen as Macbeth in the Royal Shakespeare Company, he plays a small part, and but he learned this Japanese throat acting technique, which is why it's very much in down here, and he utilized it and he only got the part because the actor that was hired didn't want to put in the contact lenses that were glass contacts. He just couldn't do it, and Ian McDiarmid was like, yeah, I'll do it.
I'll shove glass in my eye.
So that's why stab my eyeballs, Oedipus Rex style.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah, I'll do it for free. No cameras, no performance. So I just think from start to finish, it is one of the best Star Wars performances.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's great.
Yeah.
I have a couple fun facts. I have a fun fact about myself here. Being young, I didn't realize that the Rancor wasn't that big. I didn't realize how miniatures worked in film.
Oh, gotcha.
So I always thought the Rancor was huge. And then watching, I've seen Return of the Jedi probably 50 times, maybe 100, probably closer to 100. Also, I remember the Rancor just being more monstrous and doing more in the movie rather than just biting the pig monster and then dying.
Yeah, the Gamorrean guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
I just remember being so scared.
Yeah. Oh, spooky boy.
And it didn't seem fake to me.
Yeah.
It seemed like a real thing. And I remember being as a kid thinking, how did they do this? But yeah, just so scary. And then you feel so bad for it. It's a great moment because it shows that not all of the evil in the galaxy is truly evil, but that they've just been led down this path.
Oh, and it makes this sad dog whine as it's crushed.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I know.
I hate that.
I know. Any dog owner will hate that. Yeah.
And non-me fun fact. This is an actual fun fact about the Bouche outfit in that Leia wore. So I always thought that was the style of the outfit. That's Bouche gear or whatever. So I read Shadows of the Empire, which is non-canon, but whatever. And Leia actually gets that suit because it was a bounty hunter named Bouche who died, and basically she wore this dead bounty hunter's outfit and was pretending to be this notorious bounty hunter. And I never realized that. I always thought it was just you have your ceremonial garb, you have your Bouche garb, whatever. But yeah, I thought that was a fun Legends fact that could carry over to canon. Why not?
Yeah, Bouche, please.
Yeah. Oh. That's how I laugh now.
From not.
I'm very confused.
Huh, folks. Yeah, I definitely could see that being the turning out to be the real case. And also didn't see that twist coming either when I was a kid.
And she had
You
a
know,
thermal detonator just like young
Kyoto,
Solo.
Kyoto.
You too.
I
I like
love
the band You too.
Kyoto, Kyoto. I come from Kyoto, Kyoto,
I bought tickets to You too for me and you
too,
too.
and for you too, but not you.
No, no. I'm
Um,
glad that happened.
what were we talking about?
I have two more things to add to this. Not to the Bush thing or the U2
Mm.
thing that we got into too. Uh, but if we did not get the second Death Star, what would you have liked instead?
I think like having like a fleet of star destroyers or having a fleet of like what's the name of the big flagship one? Like a not the Carillion. It's like the is it just like the Imperial Star Destroyer?
Yeah, just like a
I
Star Destroyer. Sure.
yeah, whatever the big one, the like one that was like the flagship one. Having several of
Mm-hmm.
those, like in this one place being built, and they only thought there was one,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a huge disadvantage. And it's the same trap, but it's with seven of them, and
Yeah.
they have to bring them all
Yeah,
down.
they think that there's
I
one,
thought
but
that'd
then
be cool.
there's dozens. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would have been great. I was trying to think of what they could do instead of another Death Star, because we had the Death Star in the first one, then we had like AT-ATs and
Hmm.
the chicken walkers and everything for the second one, and the Empire gets the upper hand in Empire Strikes Back, but it would be great for Return of the Jedi, where if the trap really was a trap and it wasn't as simple to fix, but it was. I mean, dozens of those Star Destroyers would be great.
Yeah, and also to have like an all-out land battle too.
Hmm.
Where the trap is
Yeah,
multi-layered. Where they do have a crew there, but it's like I'm talking about like complete being surrounded. And you get that in the video game
yeah.
a little bit, a sense of the battle of Endor on the land level, but seeing more of that would be
It
great.
would have been a really good trap for the rebels to fall into if they had a large cardboard box with a carrot underneath it, and when the rebels go and grab the carrot, the cardboard box falls.
That would be great. You know what another great trap would be?
No.
Well, one of the influencer stormtroopers posting a thirst trap
Oh, like
on their Instagram, and then they get likes,
mhm.
and while they're like, pressing whatever version of Instagram they have, they're distracted, then they all attack.
Yeah,
So I'm off social media. You never know when you're liking a photo, and then you get
you get fired from your
attacked.
job. Yeah. HR calls you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know this verbatim.
uh, my last thing that I want to talk about is something else that I found in my research, that I think I might have known before, but it was cool to hear it again.
Is it the Earth is flat?
Yeah, the Star
Thank
Destroyer or
God.
the Death Stars are flat. Yeah, but when Luke is fighting Vader, he's in all black, and he could go to the dark side. And we did do an episode
Mm.
of Luke becoming Vader, which you guys can find wherever you get podcasts, wherever you're listening to this or watching this. There's another episode called Dark Luke. But when he finally defeats Vader, his jacket opens and it's white over his heart. So the light side of Luke has shone,
Oh
while
yeah,
we all
yeah. I
think
never
that the
picked up on
black part
that.
of his suit, the
I know
darkness,
what
is
he's talking
taking
about.
over.
It's like this. It goes like that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's
it's a wardrobe
yeah.
malfunction, but it's on
Hmm.
purpose.
And he's got
It's wardrobe function.
bright white nipples underneath. Yeah, and they're long.
They're really upsettingly
Hmm.
long.
I'm very upset about how long the nipples are. Yeah.
um, that's a great find. I didn't pick up on that until now, but it resonates for sure.
Good. Good.
Good.
That's all I have for Return of the Jedi.
Me
Great
too.
movie.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great to see it in theaters.
Great
Great,
fun
great to always throw
film.
it on.
Yeah. I always get excited.
You know what makes my nipples really hard? Return of the Jedi.
What? Well, you know what makes it really long.
Yeah, running through the redwoods is what really makes my nipples long.
Jub
Join
jub.
us next week where we dive into something that I think is going to be very fun. But we're going to talk about what if Jar Jar Binks truly was the Phantom Menace. It's gonna be fun.
Well, that's our show. I've been Tim. This is Dylan, and may the force be with you.
And also with you.
Oh,
Thanks.
thanks.